on, everybody? This is Coach Jacob Cavazzuto with Cab Training. I'm a speed and agility specialist out in Gilbert, Arizona. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about why I've kind of soured on cone drills. I kind of have a problem with cone drills. And the reason being is a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers use cone drills to train agility. And my definition of agility is probably a little different than most people's definition of agility. And I think if you asked everybody what they thought the definition of agility was, you'd get a whole bunch of different answers. So agility to me is reaction-based movement. So when you're out on the field and you're reacting to the way a defender is lined up, you're reacting to post-snap, the way a defender moves, the way the ball bounces, the way the play shapes out, that is agility. That is how you're moving your body in reaction to the environment that is presented to you. And so when we have cones out on the field, we have a set environment. So the environment stays the same and it sits there for you. And it's great if you want to rehearse certain footwork and you can improve your foot placement when it comes to braking at different angles. But in the game, you're not thinking about those angles. You're thinking about how to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. And so one of the drills that I'm taking aim at right here today is the box drill. All right, so the box drill, a lot of people do this all the time, and I think it's great, especially if you have young kids that need to work on their shuffling and their backpedaling and actually just running in a straight line, because that's a little underrated when it comes to kids in general, just running straight. But the box drill is, you run up forward, right, you shuffle, then you backpedal, and then you shuffle all the way back to the original cone. And it's a fine drill. It's not that bad. It keeps the kids moving. You're working on 3 different movements: sprinting, shuffling, and backpedaling. But what is this teaching? What is this putting into context? Anything? Are these movements being put into context at all? And the answer is no. Right? So when do we shuffle? When do we backpedal in the game? Right? We backpedal when we're dropping into coverage. When we're shuffling, when we're assessing the play and trying to move from gap to gap as a linebacker. Right? When are we sprinting to get to the ball or to get yards? Right? So my problem with this is we're moving in these perfectly shaped 90-degree angles all the time, but oftentimes we have to curve, we have to weave, we have to flip our hips, and we have to react to another human being. And that's my general point of this video. A drill like this that is so widely used and so often used, sometimes used every single practice or every single training session by coaches, is I'd rather, after a kid gets this done, if I see 13-year-olds doing this drill, what is it doing for them? Maybe 7, 8, 9-year-olds. But if we're having 12 and 13-year-olds run the box drill, they're not getting any work from that, right? They need to start reacting to another person in front of them. The main point of this video is, as a kid gets older and as an athlete gets older, we need to take the cones away and we have to start throwing kids into game-like situations in practice so we can focus on the specific footwork that's going to help them be successful, right? So that's why I'm kind of anti-ladder after 10 years old and I'm anti-cone after 10 years old, because there's so many ways to train the right ways to move. And there's not a lot of right ways to move. There is just the effective and efficient way to move out on the field. And so when we're faced off in a situation on the field where it's attacker versus defender, ball carrier versus defender, or there's a receiver versus a DB, or a defensive end versus an offensive tackle, right? We have to understand how to move the right way to get around them, to beat our matchup, to make the play. And a drill like this, as you get up into the older age groups, does not help that. It's great work. It might give you a sweat. It's something that most kids are used to, and I would just advise against using this way too often. And so if you're using the box drill every single practice, I'd recommend a couple different drills that include multiple kids so they can get some better work and so they can start working on their person versus person matchups in the game. I'll give you a couple suggestions here at the end of this video right now. First drill I would recommend is gap face-off. I've covered this multiple times on this channel. You have 3 tackling dummies in the middle or 3 barriers so you don't run into them, and so you can create those 4 gaps in the game. You have the offense and the defense facing opposite directions, running around cones on opposite ends, and then finally the offensive player tries to choose a gap and make the defensive player miss. This is great if you're a running back and a linebacker combination to kind of teach that face-off. Number two is simply one-on-ones. One-on-ones are so beneficial for a receiver and a DB. But another way that you can enhance one-on-ones is you can do a 3 versus 2 coverage drill. I don't have any footage on this, but what you could do is you could set up a slot receiver and a wide receiver. Those are your 2 receivers. Then you have a linebacker, corner, and safety on half of the field. This is just basically a half field zone coverage drill. You have the defense line up in different coverages. I'll oftentimes have the kids dictate the coverages on their own. So the coaches aren't even telling them which coverage it is. Especially as you get older, you can give the ownership to the kids a little bit more. But here you're having the receivers run different concepts that your team runs, and then you have the defense running different zone coverages that your team runs, and now they have to react to those different routes coming into those different zones. The quarterback has to read those routes and see what's open in accordance to those coverages. It's a great football IQ drill, and it gets you guys out of the monotony of a box drill or some type of zone coverage drop footwork drill, and you gets your football players playing football. The third drill that I would love to see you guys incorporate into your practices instead of the box drill is a sideline chase down. So with sideline chase down, I either have a one-on-one matchup or a one-on-two matchup between ball carrier and defenders. And what we do with this is we have all 3 players in this scenario run around a cone, and then there's a force defender that's basically ahead of the ball carrier that's causing them to basically either have to cut back, and then you have a defender, trail defender, that's basically forcing that ball carrier to still maintain their speed so they don't get caught from behind. So you have the ball carrier really sandwiched between 2 defenders, and they either have to beat that force, that lead defender, down to the end zone by using their top end speed, or they can cut back if that lead defender takes a bad angle. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. That's why I don't really like the box drill or overusing any types of cone drills, because it just puts a athlete in a box, so to speak. You don't want to put an athlete in a box. You want to allow them to utilize their creativity on the field and put them in game-like situations so they can truly enhance their agility and playmaking ability. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you guys had any questions about my methodology here in this video, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Hit the like button so you guys can show your support to this channel. Subscribe to Cab Training so you don't miss any more videos like this, and let's get better today. Attention football players, parents, and coaches. If you're a parent who needs help training your kid in the backyard, a first-time coach who needs ideas for training your team, or an athlete who needs guidance in how to boost your performance to the next level, introducing the Cab Training online platform. Our platform is stocked with position-specific drills, speed and agility workouts and programs, nutrition tips, and much, much more. The best drills and knowledge all in one place and one app to guide your football training journey. Click the link in my bio to sign up for our online training.